I'd like to call the Gurnee Village Board regular meeting of April 2nd, 2018 to order. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Here.
Thorstensen.
Here.
Jacobs. Here. Ross.
Here.
Garner. Here. Balmas.
Present.
6 present.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening. First up is always public comment. If somebody from the public would like to address the board about something that's not on the agenda tonight, you're welcome to come to the microphone. I assume everybody's here for something that's on the agenda. You also have another opportunity at the end of the meeting for public comment. I would like to personally thank village staff for going above and beyond and wowing the Girl Scouts, especially Jack, for the program last Tuesday. The girls were just absolutely amazed at everything, and they learned a lot that day, and we were great role models, and they had a lot of ideas for getting involved in the community. So thank you for putting that on and all the work that went into it. I think it was a wonderful day, so appreciate it. It was one of those days I was glad you weren't here.
I was not here. I missed it, but I heard good things.
Yeah. 41 young ladies in Village Hall at the same time. A little challenging. All right, then I'm going to move on to approval of the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
I had a motion from Trustee Jacobs, second from Trustee Balmas. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs. Aye. Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. Balmas.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right, motion carries. Patrick, please read the consent agenda into the record.
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the March 19, 2018 Village Board meeting. Item number 2, approval of ordinance 2018-27, approving an agreement with the Board of Education of Warren Township High School District 121 to provide easements across Oak Plain Road campus property. Item number 3, approval of ordinance 2018-28, authorizing the Fourth Amendment to the agreement between the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Cooperative, NIMEC, and the Village of Gurnee for consulting services regarding an electricity aggregation program. Item number 4, approval of a contract extension with Giglio Landscape Contractors for 2018 landscape mowing services at 2011 price, annual contract not to exceed $90,000. Item number 5, approval of payroll for period ending March 16, 2018 in the amount of $775,793.27. Item number 6, approval of bills for period ending April 2, 2018 in the amount of $532,648.81.
Thank you, Patrick. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read in the record? Motion by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee Ross. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs. Aye. Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. Balmas.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right, we'll move on to petitions and communications. The first is approval of a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, which is April 8th through 14th. Emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And public safety dispatchers are the first contact our residents have with emergency services and provide steady guidance and support in a caller's most frantic and panicked moments. And public safety dispatchers are more than a calm and reassuring voice at the other end of the phone. They are the unseen first responders. They are knowledgeable and highly trained individuals who work closely with other police, fire, and medical personnel. And public safety dispatchers of the Gurnee Police Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, dedication, and professionalism during the performance of their job. And public safety dispatchers serve the public in countless ways, often without the recognition by the beneficiaries of their services. Now, therefore, I, Christina Kovarik, Mayor of the Village of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim the week of April 8th through April 14th, 2018, to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the Village of Gurnee in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our village and our residents, businesses, and visitors safe. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Garner. Second by Trustee Jacobs. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. It's National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week coming up. Our next proclamation is for 911 Public Education Month. 911 is nationally recognized as the number to call in an emergency to receive immediate help from police, fire, emergency medical services, or other appropriate emergency response entities. And 911 was designated by Congress as the National Emergency Call Number under the Wireless Communications and Public Safety Act of 1999. And the Enhanced 911 Act of 2004 established Enhanced 911 as a high national priority as part of our nation's homeland security and public safety. And people of all ages use 911, and it is critical to educate the public of all ages on the proper use of 911. And senior citizens are at high risk for needing access to 911, and a large segment of this population is learning to use new technology. And thousands of 911 calls are made every year by children who were properly trained on the use of 911, resulting in lives saved, which underscores the critical importance of training children early in life about 911. And there is widespread misuse of the 911 system, including prank and non-emergency calls, which can result in costly and inefficient use of 911 and emergency response resources, and a need to reduce this practice. And the growth and variety of means of communications, including mobile and internet-based systems, impose challenges for accessing 911, and implementing enhanced 911 requires increased education and awareness about their capabilities. Now, therefore, I, Christina Kavarik, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim April 2018 as 911 Education Month and call upon all citizens to observe this month with appropriate ceremonies, training events, and activities. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Ross, second by Trustee Garner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. It's 911 Public Education Month. Our next proclamation is for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Our society has a responsibility to protect our children and help them thrive in a safe and nurturing environment. And every child is entitled to be loved, cared for, feel secure, and be free from verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and neglect. And the Village of Gurnee has dedicated individuals and organizations who work daily to counter the problem of child maltreatment and help parents obtain the assistance they need. And our communities are stronger when all citizens become aware of child abuse prevention and become involved in supporting parents to raise their children in a safe environment. And effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families, social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now, therefore, I, Christina Kavarik, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. I encourage all citizens to join in dedicating their energies to protecting our children and helping them grow and develop free from physical, emotional, and sexual harm. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee Ross. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. It's also Child Abuse Prevention Month. And Jack knows what to do with all of these. All right. Okay, we have no other petitions and communications.
Correct.
So we're going to move on to reports. And we are delighted to have a presentation by Dirk Skelly, our general manager out at Bittersweet Golf Course, and he's going to review the 2017 season and talk about what's coming up in 2018. So welcome.
Thank you. Hope everybody's well tonight. Hope everybody had a nice Easter.
Yes.
What I'd like to do tonight is give a quick kind of a past, present, and future of 2017 and going into 18. I want to start with 17, as you have all been kind of well versed of the weather impact that it has on our golf industry. I can tell you that 2017 was a good, a bad, and an ugly. Beginning in February, we had the good. We had an unprecedented February where we had about almost 400 rounds, and we generated about $20,000 in unanticipated revenue. In March, however, we gave it right back because of the inclement weather, extra snow, and everything else that was involved with that. And then we had the good again from April, May, and June, above average play, above average revenues, and then July. And we all know what happened, and that was the ugly. The floods that we all were involved with shut our operation down for 8 days and another 6 days to get the golf course back into condition for playability. I can tell you right there that a year-over-year analysis, we were $58,000 less than we were in 16 versus 17 for the month of July. So it did have a big impact on the revenues, but the good came back again for August, September, and October as revenues continued to go forward, rounds continued to go improve, and then November pretty much shut us down. It was a quick exit to the season. So, but all in all, I would say we posted pretty positive results, very close to our budgeted numbers, and actually was very pleased with the season in general. Some of the highlights in 17, we did build the practice area. We completed it and had very positive comments from our guests, and it was definitely an improvement to the asset of the property. Discover Golf, our new partner for our junior programs, got their feet wet last year. I don't think it's quite what they anticipated, but they are building. Hopefully they can get these 10 to 18-year-olds that we're trying to get into the game and into this industry to uptick and hopefully use Bittersweet now that we have, I believe, the best practice facility in Lake County. The course conditions, I can't say enough about our maintenance crew and what they did last year to get that golf course back to playable. We had 3 of the 4 tunnels that were completely underwater. We had a lot of dead turf due to the flooding and the baking of the grass. So they're just stellar. They're one of the best crews I've ever dealt with. I can't say enough about them. Our fish fry has continued trending up, although last year we did, because of July, we didn't quite make our numbers on the food and beverage side. I anticipate that being going forward again this year and moving forward and up, hopefully. Moving into 2018, over the winter, we did add a junior practice facility in the basement. It's got a flight scope simulator. It also has a puttable green surface, and we also brought in some artificial golf turf for a putting station. This too is tending to set the table for the Discover Golf, and our juniors, we're seeing a nice impact on that, and the numbers are increasing with that as well. Registrations continue to come in, and we're hoping that this again tries to grow the business with the younger generation. Capital considerations for this year, we have very few. We are considering and looking at a 60 by 40 concrete slab that we can provide a more private venue for outings and special events. Once we get those estimates, we'll do an ROI and see if we can determine whether that project bears moving forward. At this point, we see no major needs for maintenance, clubhouse, or grounds capital, as all the department heads are comfortable with their FFE. Frosty Fest had another successful event. All of our leagues are back, all of our outings are trending, and everything looks good for 17. Season pass purchases, I pulled the numbers today, and it looks like we're going to surpass last year. We have $115,000 budgeted, and I think we'll beat that. Lastly, we have our main staff all returning, which is a good thing, and our secondary staff, almost everybody's returning. So I believe we're well positioned for another successful year if Mother Nature behaves itself.
Tom handles that for us.
Yeah. Any questions?
You guys are doing a wonderful job. I hear nothing but positive things. We should publish the fish fry on Friday night in our electronic newsletter and keep reminding people. And then we're doing something that will help a little bit with future flooding or to prevent future flooding. The project where we had to close down Allman, or at least where the work's continuing, is some new stormwater out there that will help, I've been told, on the 5th and 6th hole. So not all 18, but at least 2 of them. So, we're doing some stuff out there so you don't ever get quite that bad again.
Right.
No, I think we should try to figure out some more events that we could do together. You know that. Questions from the trustees? You certainly have turned it into what I consider a community amenity when I used to consider it a community thorn in my side. So you have done a wonderful job. I appreciate that. I know we're all thankful.
I've got a very good team.
It's just a beautiful piece of property. It really is.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're doing a good job out there. You read a lot in the newspapers about golf courses in the area losing money every year, and that's not the case with Dirk and Golf Visions out of Bittersweet. They're able to sock some money away in the bank every year to get them through the winter and have some money for capital expenditures that come up. So, and then we've been able to help them out. When we replaced some plow trucks last year, we pushed a 1-ton out there to help them out. So they got a dump truck out there now, and then a pickup truck from the fire department with a plow on it. So passing down some of our equipment has helped them as well. But they continue to do a good job. We've got some staff members that are out there on a regular basis that report back to me, and we meet with Dirk on a regular basis, and everything's headed in the right direction. So couldn't be happier.
Good. Well, thank you for being here tonight. All right, any other reports?
No,
Any old business?
not tonight.
All right, then we are going to move on to new business. First item is approval of ordinance 2018-29, granting a special use permit for a car wash at 431 North Route 21 pursuant to the Gurnee zoning ordinance.
Sure. So you had a memo from our associate planner, Clara Schaff, on this. Owner of Riverside Plaza, which is at the northeast corner of Washington 21, is looking to install a luxury auto spa. So they are before the Planning and Zoning Board in March, on March 7th, seeking the special use permit for the establishment of this. It's the 3-acre property on the north end of the plaza, so south of the daycare, north of the plaza, almost right across from Six Flags entrance, where they're looking to construct the facility. Just some plan specifics that were outlined in the memo I'll highlight for you. So they're looking at hours of operation Monday through Friday, 7 to 9, Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 7. 3 staff members on site, 4 levels of car washes. They're going to have 3 stacking pay lanes that can accommodate a total of 36 cars. Total stacking of 59 cars. So you got 36 in the main pay aisles, 14 in the prep area, and then 9 after you pay between the gate and entering the car wash. Entrance and exits the car wash will have heated pavement, so there's not ice buildup. No retail area in the facility, but they'll have a small area with vending machines that sell small car accessories, air fresheners, towels, etc. We'll have some free vacuum stations, 28 of them, located on the east side of the building. Some parking stalls for staff members are provided, the south side, and then prairie-style building with stucco accents, brick and limestone veneers. So there was plans attached to the back of your memo there that show renderings, site plan, and then renderings of the building from the different site elevations. C2 allows car washes as a special use in that district, subject to some screening and draining standards. Staff took a look at these standards and this site is specific, and some of the screening standards don't make sense. So staff was looking to relax those given the location of this site. So that was looked at, and this equates to the fencing on the north, south, and east property lines, as there's no need for it. And then staff was recommending some less intense landscaping requirements, which again were outlined in the memo from Clara. Planning and Zoning Board took a look at it, and it received a unanimous favorable recommendation, and it is before you tonight for consideration.
All right, we also have the petitioners here? Okay, you're representing the petitioners? Yes. Okay, anything you'd like to add, sir? Just your name for the...
Yes, for the record, my name is Mark Kupiak. I'm an attorney, and I represent the applicant in this special use application. And I believe the recitation was very accurate. I think it included everything. We do, in fact, have the applicant and our expert witness here if you had any questions.
All right, glad to see the stacking for 59, or the holding the 59 cars. I know that's very important. Questions from the trustees?
Yes, I have a question.
Trustee Garner?
I'd like to know how three employees will run that facility. It seems like a pretty complex operation and very large as well.
Nick, would you like to address that? Make sure.
Hi, Nick Spallone. I'm the consultant and developer of the property. The property is set up to be mostly automatic. The staff that's there will be, one staff member will be set to assist the people at the pay station. So think of, cash station machines where you can pay. So there'll be one staff member that'll kind of float the 3 pay stations to make sure clients are pressing the right buttons. If they drop their credit card, they'll pick them up so they don't have to worry about trying to get their door open. So that one person will be more of a liaison to the paying process, even though the machines are automatic. We'll have one person that floats the lot to make sure that it constantly stays clean. So when people are cleaning out door jams, typically you'll drop 2 or 3 things, you hope no one looks, and you hit the garbage can, that person will make sure that that stuff is picked up. And then there's one final person that actually guides the people onto our belt. So we don't use a track, we use a belt. The car sits on a belt. So that's all that facility needs. In fact, the facility can be run with 1, but we use the 2 extra to kind of make sure everything runs smooth.
So in a case where you have 59 cars stacked and something goes wrong, you got 3 people.
Yes. So there is an emergency. The site is designed to have an emergency exit lane. So let's say somebody came through and there's 15 cars behind them and they forgot their payment method. And now what do? So that person that kind of liaisons the pay process will tell them, there is an emergency exit lane out that side. Please follow that emergency exit lane. Or, knowing the owner of the property, he may say, this one is on us, go ahead and go through the process. They'll approve it through the computer with hopes that the next time they don't forget their credit card. So really, the facility is set up to operate with 1 person, but we have 3 team members at all times on the facility. So there's more than 3 employees. It's just 3 at one time.
So on site, there's only
only 3 on site. So one may work the morning shift, and then someone will come in and fill the afternoon shift. So one person won't work the whole 14 hours. It may be, 7.
I get it. It just seems like 3 is not enough. I go to car washes, and it seems like there's usually more than 3.
In a full service situation, which is another brand that we build, we can have 30 people there, but we don't. There's no staff out there drying. There's no staff that's sitting there prepping the vehicle. The machines typically do everything. Even the pay stations take care of everything.
So they're not doing anything with the inside of the car, basically.
We don't touch anything.
Yeah.
So it's just a machine that's running constantly, and they're just
Exactly.
driving through.
So we make sure that, the cars are pulled up on the belt, separated separately at a perfect separation. So they're really there to kind of manage the flow, make sure everything goes smooth. So more traffic instructors and cleaners than any, cleaning the property grounds, not the physical cars themselves.
Sure. I got it. Thanks.
Question, Trustee Balmas?
Just out of curiosity, are you going to have those people that come with their own rags and stand at the end of the
No,
car wash?
no. But there will be, as the man said in the beginning, there will be a vending area that will allow clients, when they pull into the free vacuum areas, to go and buy towels or finishing products. So if they go to vacuum their car and they want to wipe it down and they didn't bring their own material to do that, they will have the ability to purchase that and do that on their own.
I'm just concerned about people coming up and accosting you to dry your car when...
We get that. We get that, and we kindly just let them know that this is not the facility for that.
Okay.
So it's a self-serve spa. Any questions here?
Oh, yeah, I
just
got
gonna
one
make
more.
I'm sorry, Trustee Garn, and then I'll let you go.
How much is a car wash?
The packages run anywhere from $3 to $10. So we have a $3, a $5, an $8, and a $10.
And what's the difference?
Whatever is selected may activate specific things inside the tunnel. Nothing changes what somebody physically does. It's just certain things may. So on the $3 wash, it'll just really be limited what the vehicle gets. Where on the $10 wash, it'll rinse the wheels, it'll put tire dressing on, it'll put a wax, it'll put a rinse agent on the windows, it'll buff the outside of the vehicle just before. We're one of the first ones since the 2018 drop of the buffing the vehicles. A lot of automatic car washes, the problem is that they have spots. I mean, the owner's name for the wash is intended to be spotless, so he really has to make sure that that's the end product. So we're dropping the new 2018 spotless mechanical, so so certain things will trigger based on the wash that they pay for.
Okay, got it.
Undercarriage, so that may not be on the $3 one where it would be on a 5 or an 8.
Sure, I understand.
All right, were you making our trustee Thorstensen?
It's kind of a comment, I think. I don't know if I have a question. So I've been comparing you to one of your competitors in the very nearby community that I use, and your hours seem comparable, so I'm glad for that. The 3 staff on site, I think you've got 1 to 2 more people than the other one does, but the other one doesn't have, I don't know if it has 59 cars. It doesn't appear that way, but I'm glad that you've got 1 at the pay station, because people do forget something, not me, but they do forget to pay. So I'm glad I think that should help considerably. And I forget the last point I was going to mention. Oh, I know. Your competitor had some type of a card at Christmas time that if you bought so much, you got some extra value on the card, and those were very nice stocking stuffers, just as I mentioned.
So there is loyalty built into the machines where the camera system will recognize a plate number, and we'll set the parameters if somebody comes. We won't tell anybody. It'll almost be a surprise. So if we set it at every 10 washes, someone will come in and the screen will say, this is your 10th wash, this one's on us, and the gate will open. So it's kind of like the winning lottery thing, curious to when I'm going to get that free wash. But we have the loyalty thing built into ours.
Great, thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to approve? Motion by trustee Jacobs, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right,
Thank
congratulations.
you guys very much.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Best of luck. All right, item number 2, approval of ordinance 2018-30, granting a zoning map amendment pursuant to the Gurnee zoning ordinance for approximately 1.2 acres located on the east side of North Route 21, immediately north of the Windsor Court Office Complex, which is located at 495, 501, and 505 North Route 21. This is the petitioner is this is the American Legion's vacant property rezoning request, and it is on behalf of the American Legion. You want to do a brief overview? Then I'm going to say something, and then Brian's going to say
Sure,
something.
give you a quick run through here. So they're looking to rezone approximately 1.2 acres from R2 to the more restrictive R1 single-family residential district. As the mayor said, this is on the south end of their property, just north of Windsor Court. The comp plan has it designated as office service, but it has residential to the north, and then the commercial zone to the south and west, and then unincorporated to the east. You've got the Forest Preserve and the Des Plaines River there. So looking to for the rezoning request for the installation of some hoop houses, also known as greenhouses, that'll be used by Growing Healthy Veterans, which is a nonprofit based in Grays Lake. They'd like to use this as an urban farming site to support this national initiative of training veterans to become farmers. Also help with coming back from active duty and as a method to help with PTSD. Agriculture is permitted in the R1, but not R2, so hence the reason for the request for the rezoning. They were before the PZB on March 21st and received an unfavorable 6-1 recommendation. The PZB, looking at it, looked specifically at the zoning request and had concerns about its consistency with what was on the comp plan and felt that commercial was more appropriate for this property. So that is what they came up with and forwarded to the village board. Now it is before you for consideration.
And I just want to state for the record, we have a phenomenal planning and zoning board. They do yeoman's work so that we don't have to do it at our level. They really take care of the minutia, and it's very black and white, and they are very focused on the zoning. So I don't disagree with them, but often it is our job to sometimes look beyond the zoning and what is in the best interest of the community to benefit the needs of the community. So as we go through this presentation and talk about it, I would like the board to think beyond just zoning and all that, those hard dollars and costs and that we look at. Sometimes you do things because it's the right thing to do to meet the needs of your community. But Brian wants to elaborate a little bit on the zoning aspect of it, just for the record.
Right. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend that meeting. I've certainly reviewed all the notes, and it just occurred to me that I just want to remind the trustees that even though the public hearing takes place, you're always required to review the notes and the findings of fact. One issue did develop at this particular hearing, and you see it in the notes, where there was some discussions about the C2 classification. That was not part of the proposal, and so I just want to refocus everyone. It's perfectly fine to discuss alternative zoning classifications, but it is very important at the Plan Commission level and here at this board that you consider the petition as presented. And the way it was presented and the way it is presented tonight is asking a change from an R2 classification to an R1. So typically within a residential, it is often easier to make a change from within a residential classification than it is to go from residential to commercial, commercial to industrial, because those are really some benchmarks that are a more dramatic change. When you're considering the evidence presented, you also have to look at the record to decide for yourself whether there was evidence that the R1 request, whether there were findings of fact or evidence that the R1 would create negative impacts. And you really have to do that independently based on the record. And what I mean by that is by changing this from R2 to R1, which actually in many senses is a more restrictive zoning within the residential, what would be reasons to not approve such a change? Typically, the reasons would be there's a negative impact to surrounding properties, such as it's higher density and that would create more traffic for the neighborhood, that there would be stormwater problems, that there would be noise or light or any other public welfare concerns that you would have. And I would just encourage you to consider the minutes and whether there was any testimony to suggest that the request as presented created any negative impacts. Please do that before you make your decision on this. And that's really the point that I wanted to make, is that you must always do that regardless of what the recommending vote is, and it's only a recommending vote. So unless anyone has any questions, those were the points I wanted to make.
No, but I made my point. So Jim Husel is here representing, he's the commander of the American Legion. Do you want to just give a brief overview? And we have some material that we read through, but just for the record.
Yeah, I'm Jim Husel, commander of Post 771. Yeah,
Jim starts tonight, before Jim starts, I need to clarify one thing. In the past, I've been a dues-paying member of the Legion. I haven't paid dues in a couple of years. Is it appropriate for me to...
Yeah, I mean, the restriction for recusal would be that you have a pecuniary interest in what's being discussed and voted upon. Mere membership it would not disqualify you from weighing in on this issue. And you're not an officer of the organization, I take it. Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Yes, so. And, the reason we asked for the rezoning, just to make it a simplified process for the land use, what we're planning on doing is putting up two 48-foot hoop houses, and they're going to be put up there on a program called Building Healthy Veterans. It's urban farming inside these hoop houses to raise fresh food under the hands of veterans, and hopefully to sell that to the local restaurants and maybe add a couple more. But right now we're only asking to put up two hoop houses on that property and that. So if there's any questions you might have specifically, I'd be glad to answer them.
This project's been found to be very therapeutic for veterans.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, As a matter of fact, the VA has already contacted us if we get this accomplished in that they want to bring some of the veterans from the VA over here to get them, off the building, off property over there, get them out in the community a little more. So I think it has a lot of benefits to the community. I don't think it would be an eyesore. As I've mentioned it to community people just in general, like we haven't kicked off anything yet, but when I mentioned it to community members, there's a lot of interest in the community around this project, because this is not just the veterans getting involved, it's the community with the veterans getting involved, and I think it's going to be a great community project.
And everybody's always asking for more fresh fruit, more fresh produce, locally grown, plus it does help with therapy and healing for veterans who do need that right now. They're not permanent structures, they're not on cement or anything, so the R1 is merely to allow for an agricultural use, and who knows what happens in the future. So all right, so I'm going to take questions from the trustees. Trustee Ross?
Couple of questions. The Growing Healthy Veterans, are they paying for the hoops, or who's paying?
We're going to be doing some fundraising to do this. We've already reached out to Lake County Farm Bureau. They want to help us out with this. Reached out to the Extension, University of Illinois Extension. They want to help us out with this. We talked to Mary's Greenhouse. They want to help us out with this. We're pretty sure that when we go, they're not real expensive structures. They're approximately $2,500 per structure to go up there, so they're not real expensive. We have an advisor that's going to help us. The most important part besides this structure is actually the dirt we're going to put inside of there, because it's just, the right mixture of dirt. So we're going to build planting beds inside these hoop houses. But, yeah, that's it.
Well, it's just a comment that I've heard is that, that you were in such need of money, and that we were doing the Craft Beer Fest to help, and then it seems that there's a question about that, so it's good to know you're getting volunteer help with that. And then the other thing, in Wadsworth, there's a Freedom Farm that is for veterans.
Right.
And that is the whole farm with, animals and all of that. And then also just on Wadsworth, or Washington Street, there's a farm there that, did you ask Joe Ledusky if you could maybe put them there where they would actually learn farming, not just, this is really a greenhouse, right?
Right. Well, this land has been vacant forever. This land has been vacant forever. We wanted to put it to good use. We're veterans. We want to help fellow veterans. We felt this was good use. Rather than having it located someplace else, it's near our facility. We have Gurnee Youth Baseball there all the time. So we hope to get them involved. We're getting positive responses from them already. We don't want to hide this. We want it to be out in the open, to be honest with you.
Well, and originally, we had heard that that land was going to be more baseball fields.
Gurnee Youth Baseball is aware of this project, and there's no plans, to my understanding, to put more baseball fields there right now. So, and the way it's laid out, they use that part of the property that's further north of there that we're not asking to rezone. They use that for parking right now. So this is we're taking a smaller plot that we have there to donate to this. There's plenty of room there for what we want to do there.
Any other question? Trustee Thorstensen?
So I guess in terms of a question, first of all, I know you talked about the Gurnee Youth Baseball, but I'm sure there's quite a few service clubs also that might be interested. We always have our Boy Scouts looking for service, so I don't know where our point of contact is for all the service organizations. I'm thinking Jack possibly with some of the service fairs that we've done, or volunteer fairs. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you, because I think this offers a good opportunity, and I agree with you. I think it's a great use of the property in terms of veterans really visibly helping other veterans, so I think that's terrific. And I guess the last is just a statement, is that I checked out the Growing Health Veterans website, and I just wish they were founded in Gurnee versus Grace Lake.
Yeah. I agree.
Yes. Okay, Trustee Balmas?
I think it's a great idea, great program. What I have a huge problem with are hoop houses. I grew up in the greenhouse business, so I know that they can become very trashy in a short amount of time. And I am concerned about the appearance right there on 21. If it was on the lower part where you wouldn't see them as much in that backfield by the Commonwealth, the phone lines or electric lines, I probably wouldn't have as much of an issue with than having them right there on 21. Hoop houses are just, I mean, I'm a greenhouse person and grew up in them, and I know what they're like in snow or weather conditions, high wind conditions, hail, snow. There are a lot of difficulty and a lot of work. And I just don't know that I'm for this right along 21 and the appearance it's going to have.
They're going to be set back, though. They're not going to be right on the road. They're going to be set back in a corner there is where we're going to start with it. Number two, these are going to be built by veterans, okay? You look in a barracks, they're going to be manned and cleaned and kept in well. We're not going to let them deteriorate at all, because that's going to be a impact on the visibility of the veterans in the community. So we're going to keep these up. I've seen them up in action. I know what you're talking about, but we don't have the money to put up a permanent structure. These are temporary structures that we want to put up in there.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's
Right.
a temporary
But I've seen them up
structure
where
that-
if they're put up properly, they hold up. The ones I saw were up in Wisconsin, so they're up in this kind of climate. They're not in a lower climate, and they're in great condition in that. So.
Yeah, but they're probably not right along one of the main highways in Gurnee. And I'm all for it. I know gardening is a great therapeutic thing. I get the whole thing. I just know how much it costs to maintain them, to put heat in them, and you're going to have heat in them.
We are not putting heat.
How are you going to manage to raise anything?
We're not going to raise during the winter months. We are not putting heat in these. I'm telling right now. No, there's no plans of putting any heat in these. And the ones that our consultant showed us, because he's done this at other veterans locations, they don't put heat. So around November, December, once the weather changes, we're shut down until the spring. So we're not putting heat. I know what you're talking about. I've done some aircraft hangars before in the past. No, we're not putting anything else into these. So.
Okay.
I'd feel better if I knew like the plots of right there that the Park District has been trying to run and what they look like during the summer. You know,
The ones on Kilbourne?
On Kilbourne. And,
Is anybody
you
even
know,
managing those, or I thought that
well,
was the
but
garden
that's what
club.
I'm saying. If you don't have somebody out there using them, and I mean, and why aren't you starting there? That'd make me feel a whole lot better about the project if I saw some development there to begin with, as far as
that would-
farming and growing.
I think that was a different purpose that the Gurnee Park District started that
Well, it's
for.
the same idea of that people want to have their own gardens, and when you don't have room in your backyard, they can put a plot there. So it's a hard one for me to buy into. I get all the good, but I also see some of the negative.
Just a statement. We had a young veteran from Afghanistan come over to American Legion when he was doing public service because of some issue he got into, and I asked him, why aren't younger veterans getting involved with the American Legion? And he said they're not getting involved because they want to do healthy things. This was the next idea that came up to me at a local veterans consortium that gets together, and it just rung with me right away that this is a healthy, good use of property that's been vacant forever. Why should it sit there vacant? So that was the reason we came up with this, working with another nonprofit in the area.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I got trustee Jacobs next, and then I'll go to Greg.
Actually, my question was asked about the setback, so I don't have any further
Okay.
questions. Thank you.
All right, trustee Garner?
I'm concerned about the aesthetics of Route 21 as well. And, Gurnee has very little vacant property left. And, I'm very stingy about, what we put where. And, while, what you're trying to do, I think is fantastic. Just the idea of hoop houses, I think I'd like to see something a little more structural. And now, if you told me that You know, we're going to start with hoop houses, and if it goes well, we'll put something better there, something more substantial. Great, but my concern is what this thing is going to look like in a business district. One thing you do have in your favor is, you know, you own the property north of it all the way to the street, so that helps me. But to see hoop houses on the front of the street is an issue, and secondly, if it does work, are you going to grow grass all around it so it looks nice? You know, 2 hoop houses on a vacant lot, that's not real appealing for me. And so my concern is, what is this going to look like? We don't have any plans. We don't know what it's going to look like. And so it makes it difficult to decide. But I appreciate what you're trying to do. I think it's important, and I think that it would bring value to the community. However, I'm very cautious about what it's going to look like long term, and if it's going to be there permanently and for a long time. So that's my concern.
The reason we're putting up temporary hoop houses is because it might not be there forever. You know, I mean, this is construction that has been advised to us that other locations have used before. If we start going into permanent structures, we all know what that would cost. That would definitely kill the whole project. So then that land just sits vacant. This is helping veterans in our community. Like I said, I've reached out to community members. I've had a very positive response from it. I don't believe it's going to be an eyesore because it's not going to be sticking right out on Route 21. We have a huge setback there. I think it's 300-foot setback there, or 200-foot. So it's going to be sitting back. The first ones would be back in the far southeast corners where we would start our construction at.
Would it be possible to, I'm sorry, did it answer your question, Greg? 200 feet.
Yeah, he said it's temporary, but
These are temporary buildings.
I mean, what does that mean? I mean, does that mean they're going to be there for?
Kind of like what, like a shed or something, if it, you know, they kind of start all
I
over
mean,
again.
but are they going to be there forever? Temporary meaning 5 years, 2 years?
Until next flood. Let me hit Trustee Hood.
I just want to thank the American Legion for taking the time to think this through, because over the years I've always thought that it's a dying breed. I haven't really seen the relevance. I know it's hard, but this to me is relevance. And to me it's a risk that's worth taking. Though I hear Jeannie and Greg, I think they've got good points, because I'm concerned the way it's going to look on Route 21. It doesn't seem like the best place, but the fact that it's your land and you just happen to be there, I think it's worth the risk. And secondarily, we're here just talking about going from R2 to R1. That's really what it's about. It's not us voting on whether we like hoop houses or not, but nonetheless, I think it's worth the risk, and just appreciate you looking for alternatives that you're willing to be open to. So I hope that we can support you in this.
The difference, though, in the zoning, though.
If
as
this
it
was
is
going
right
to
now, it
C2.
doesn't- I know, but it doesn't allow for it right now.
No, R2 doesn't,
Right,
R1 does.
so
R1
I-
is more
yeah.
but R1 is more restrictive with setbacks and stuff. You know, that's why when the whole C2 came up, you know, you're into a whole different animal, which on a temporary, you know, if they wanted to make this permanent, then yeah, we probably would be talking about a different zoning
Well,
classification.
you know, unless there's some maybe heavy-duty landscaping along there, which would be part of the growing, and you could put apple trees there that would bloom in the spring and
I think people
put a
would-
harvest, but at least hide the bubble houses.
I think like Trustee Hood says, I think people, the community will give us leeway when they see the value and the purpose of the project versus we just let, you know, Tom's Garden Center put up some temporary greenhouses to grow. This is a project to benefit veterans that are suffering from PSTD. Now, what may help a little with that, I think it would be possible to put up a sign, whatever the ordinances are for, you know, like what we did at Welton Village Plaza, a sign to tell people why these greenhouses are here and what the purpose of them are. Just if somebody drives by, they don't think we just randomly put up greenhouses, that it's, it's got a bona fide purpose and it's not commercial, but certainly people are going to be able to take advantage of fresh produce and fresh fruit. So that's just another idea that you can work with staff on. I know there's
Yeah, that
rules
is the
around
plan. I mean, once we have approval to do it, then that is the plan, is to put up a sign there according to village ordinance to let the community know what we're doing and to really advertise it in the newspaper, what we're doing in the community and that.
Yeah, I think we'd get some leeway. Any other questions? All right, the motion is to rezone to R1. That's the action we have to take. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Hood.
Second.
Second by trustee Thorstensen. We're going to take a roll call vote, and if for some reason it's a tie, Randy, call on me, please.
Okay.
Roll
Hood.
call.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
It goes against my grain, so it's a nay.
Okay.
5 aye, 1 nay.
All right, so motion carries. All right, so work with staff on the signage. How much is that total parcel? How much is the total parcel? Not just this piece, but how much land do you have
Yeah,
there?
the other parcel is about another 2.5 acres.
All right, so you're only at 3.
3, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe even more, but we got, right around there.
Okay. I'm going to be calling you for a meeting. We have a Veterans Mini House Community project, so I said I know just the guy. All right, so motion carries. We'll move on to item number 3, which is approval of ordinance 2018-31, authorizing the execution of a third amendment to the tax sharing agreement between the Village of Gurnee and the Lake County, Illinois Convention and Visitors Bureau and Illinois Not-for-Profit Corporations. So this continues on the presentation that we had from Maureen Reedy that showed you all the services that we are receiving for our payment, and making some adjustments based on the increase in the hotel tax. I think this is fair. So did I miss? You can explain
Yeah,
how
no, I
we reached
mean,
it.
our agreement with Visual Lake County is they receive 22.5% of our hotel tax revenue, not including Great Wolf. So with the bump in the hotel tax rate from 5 to 6%, if we do nothing, that'd be an additional $55,000 for Visual Lake County. Being that the change in tax rate really doesn't create any more work for them or put any more stress on them, staff's recommendation was that we should do something, but not the whole 55, because we can definitely use that revenue as well, as we've seen from Brian's presentation on where sales tax is headed. So staff's recommendation was to cap the Visual Lake County contribution at $190,000. So that would be at about an additional $15,000 as a result of the bump in the hotel tax, but not the full amount if we did nothing. So that's what this amendment does, caps it at $190,000. I shared this with Maureen, so she's aware of it. $190,000 is what we put in our budget for next year. So that's where we're at.
In this agreement, while legally binding, if we do get another entertainment venue in town, we get additional hotels, especially of the magnitude of Great Wolf, and some of those bigger things that we've had some discussions about, we certainly can reconsider it, because this is a valuable service that's being provided to us that we're paying for. So there's nothing to say we can't come back and say, we've doubled our number of hotel rooms or we've doubled our entertainment venues, but I think this is fair to start out with. Questions?
Yeah, I have a
Trustee
question.
Garner?
Would we be obligated, if we should get another hotel, would we be obligated to share with them the additional revenues, or?
So per the agreement, we will, but it'll still be capped at $190,000. So we could get 10 more hotels, but if the village board didn't open this agreement back up, they'd just be capped at $190,000, and that additional would come back to the village.
Great.
So we can, if we need additional services or we think they're doing more for us, just as if we had contracted with a marketing department, we can easily open this
Just
up.
open it up whenever you want.
There's nothing, so that's always up to you. We always try to discuss it at budget time, so that's a good time to evaluate it. That's usually when we do it. And we need to make sure that we keep Maureen on the calendar to come in March. That was kind of a miss on my part. But for now, this is good, and then this money certainly will be put to good use. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Motion by trustee Thorstensen,
Second.
second by trustee Balmas. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
6-0.
All right, motion carries. Good work, good recommendation.
Could I say something?
Trustee Ross?
I think one thing we should just kind of be clear about, it still is 22.5% each month. And so depending on how the months go, that's what they get until they get to, say, October or whenever it is that they hit the 190, then they don't get anything more. So it's, even though she knows that probably she's going to get the 190, it still is dependent on how full those hotels are leading up to that point.
Yeah, it's still performance-based. I
Right.
mean, if
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
yeah,
say.
if she doesn't hit the 190, then we're suffering too, because we aren't hitting our numbers as far as
Yeah.
what we put in the budget, so we're hoping she hits the 190.
All right. Item number 4, approval of ordinance 2018-32, approving the annual budget of the Village of Gurnee, County of Lake, State of Illinois for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2018 and ending April 30th, 2019. The Holy Grail. Our Holy Grail. All right, are there any last-minute questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by trustee Ross, second by trustee Jacobs. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
6-0.
All right. Good work, Brian and staff and everybody, the department heads. A lot when you guys work, it seems like you work on it 6 months out of the year.
Feels like it's longer than
I
that.
know. It's a long process, but well worth it because it helps us run faster in the new fiscal year. All right, item number 5, approval of ordinance 2018-33, authorizing a professional services agreement between the Village of Gurnee, Illinois and Safe Built Illinois LLC.
Yeah, so this was something I asked David to take a look at when we found out that our chief plan reviewer was going to retire. So I asked him to put his feelers out and take a look at what contracting out certain plan reviews would look like, what the costs are, the ability to staff up, staff down, et cetera. So he reached out to a couple firms, got some proposals. We went through them. Safe Built is established in Illinois. He listed a number of communities in the area that use them for plan review services. Evanston, Glenview, Grays Lake, Lake Zurich, Volo, Winnetka were a couple. Checked the references, they came back good. When we looked at the salary for topped-out chief plan reviewer and the number of hours that they're actually, the positions here on site when you take out vacation, personal days, et cetera, and compare that to the proposal that Safe Built gave us, it's basically a wash, dollar for dollar. Safe Built, though, gives us the ability, like I said before, to staff up and down. So when there's slam back there, developers are calling, screaming at them as far as where plan reviews are at. If we need to staff up and bring on additional resources, we could do that. Where in the past, you had one position there that was trying to get through all those. So David and I and Attorney Winter ran through the contract, found everything to be in order. I mean, there is an out clause with 3 months notice we can get out of it. So if we get a month in and this isn't working out how we think it was going to work out or how we envisioned it, there's an ability to give them notice and terminate it, and that money is still in the budget where we could look to bring that position back in-house. So something we want to try, see how it goes. Like I said, if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, we've still got the ability to go back to the way we've always been doing it. So
This is very, very effective use of our dollars. It is very cyclical in the back, and so when we're busy, the highest and best use of our staff will be on the really important projects. The rest can be, contracted out. We can get extra help when we need it. This is a very good idea.
yeah,
When there's no work, there's no work.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still, the inspections will stay in-house, and then there's certain plan reviews that'll stay in-house. Electrical, plumbing, those more technical will remain in-house. Fire code reviews, those will stay in-house. So this is the more general plan reviews, so.
which our highly skilled staff should be working on the more important stuff. Did you hear me say that, like when we had nothing to do? It's going to happen someday.
Make
All
a
right,
motion.
questions? Did you make, I'm sorry, Greg.
Make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion from trustee Garner, second from trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs. Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right, motion carries. Good job, David. All right, item number 6, approval of Public Works Department's recommendation to waive the formal bidding process and award Lee Avenue, Osprey Lakes, Route 41, and Merritt Club sanitary sewer lift station SCADA upgrades to Concentric Integration, formerly Baxter and Woodman Control Systems Integration, at a cost of $86,210.
Sure. So this was a project we got started on last year as far as getting the lift stations into the SCADA system. So we started out with Crescent Avenue. That was kind of our test station. Got all the bugs worked out on that station, and there's money in the 17-18 budget to bring some additional sanitary lift stations on board. So Baxter and Woodman is who put the SCADA system together initially. That's who we've been working with since day one. So we didn't see a reason that made sense operationally or financially to go out to bid on this. So we got a price from them to bring 4 more lift stations into the SCADA system. They came back at $86,210. Obviously, we're getting close to the end of the fiscal year, so we got started late on this, get them started on it. If they don't get it completed this year, they'll have to find some funding. Tom will have to find some funding in next year's budget to complete this. But this would bring these 4 additional stations into SCADA, and then we got 3 outstanding. That'll be a future year project to bring them on board.
This is another good project. I like this. Takes the village from reactive emergency handling to proactive troubleshooting and handling. That's powerful.
Motion
Questions?
to approve.
Motion from trustee
Second.
Balmas, second by trustee Jacobs. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right, motion carries. Item number 7, approval of engineering division's recommendation to award the 2018 street resurfacing program, which includes Almond Road, Belle Plaine, Red Pine Avenue, Long Meadow Drive, to the low bidder, J.A. Johnson Paving Company, at a cost of $2,375,546.50.
Sure. So this is next year's street resurfacing and reconstruction program. Went out to bid on it. Received 3 bids. J.A. Johnson was the low bidder on it. Worked with them in the past. Had good experience with them. We've got 3.25 miles of streets in next year's program, and just the breakdown on how they fare. 47% of that comes back as failed, 51% is poor, and then 2% rated as fair. So as the mayor said, I mean, the main project is going to be Almond from Grand Avenue down to Washington, as well as some patching, some work on South Belle Plaine, Red Pine, Long Meadow, like the mayor said. But Almond's going to be the main focal point of next year's program. So J.A. Johnson was a little better.
Who'd we use this past year?
Payne and Dolan.
Okay.
Got like 3 that we kind of rotate through.
Questions?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion from trustee Garner, second from trustee Ross. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs. Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
6 aye.
Motion carries. Item number 8, approval of request from Public Works Department to purchase one 2018 Dodge Ram 5500 regular cab 4x4 chassis from Ray Chrysler at a cost of $48,688. This replaces Public Works units 298 and 290.
Yeah, these next 3 are really get these vehicles ordered. So because there's such a long build time on them, and there's cutoff dates for getting vehicle orders in. So we usually have this right after we approve the budget, is to get these vehicle purchases in so we can get them before the snow flies or the end of the fiscal year. So the first one is 1 ton up at Public Works. We're getting rid of actually 2 trucks and just replacing it with 1. One of the trucks is 14 years old, 3,100 hours. The other one's 21 years old with 1,900 hours. Both used for just general roadway maintenance and plowing operations. This is just a chassis, so we'll be back probably at the next meeting with the upfitting, which is the plow, the central hydraulics, the spreader, et cetera, but we didn't quite have that wrapped up yet. We looked at a couple of different government purchasing cooperatives that we go through and what their prices were, and then reached out to some dealers in the area, and Ray Chrysler was able to beat those co-op prices. And we've worked with Ray in the past and had good luck with them. So we're recommending to go with them for this 1-ton chassis.
Questions? Trustee Garner?
What are we doing with the older trucks?
So I actually reached out to Bittersweet today to see if they needed another dump truck, and they don't. So one will go to auction, and then the other one is being traded in towards one of the new Peterbilts, was my understanding.
Maximize their usage.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion from Trustee Garner, second from Trustee Jacobs. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
6-0.
All right, motion carries. Item number 9, approval of Police Department request to purchase 4 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe state bid contract vehicles at a cost of $148,932.
Yeah, so these are the police squads for next year. So we're going back to Tahoes. The Ford Explorers are on the road. Took a while to get them on the road. They haven't been on the road long enough for me to be comfortable that they've proven themselves and for vehicle maintenance to be comfortable in that regard yet. So rather than bring more Ford Interceptors on board that we're not quite sure about, go back to something that's tried and true and we've had good luck with. So 4 Chevrolet Tahoes, and then these vehicles will be pushed down in the fleet. So I think Scott's got 3 headed his way, and then Public Works was looking to keep one just as a general vehicle up there at the Public Works Department. So these will stay within the fleet and be repurposed. And the 3, Scott will get rid of 3 vehicles in his fleet, so he'll push 3 out.
Didn't you have the electric ones?
No. We never pulled the trigger on that. We talked about it at the board meeting about
And then we didn't.
a hybrid Escape, and we didn't
Okay.
ever do it, so.
All right, Trustee Bomas?
These are all SUVs.
Yeah, these are the bigger SUVs, and these are all-wheel drive.
But aren't there some of the officers that actually prefer the cars, or is that not the case anymore? I mean, that was, I remember a debate at one time.
Yeah, with the purchase of the Ford Explorer vehicles last year, we no longer had any sedans in the fleet. So there was a concern that the smaller officers might prefer the smaller vehicle. They're beginning to drive the Ford Explorer, which is smaller, but the overall preference is for the larger SUV, the Tahoe.
Okay, I mean, I just remember that was at one time part of the conversation, and so that's fine. I just want the officers to feel.
The Ford Explorer does provide a smaller option, but they've been on the road for such a short period of time, we have not seen a great move toward driving those, even from the smaller officers. So, but time will tell. We'll take this year to evaluate that.
I just want them to be comfortable in their vehicles, so.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bomas, second by Trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Bomas.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Item number 10, approval of request from Fire Department to waive bidding requirements and utilize the HGAC by Rescue Pumper, contract number FS12, to purchase a 2018 heavy-duty Typhoon Rescue Pumper from Fire Service, Inc. at a cost of $584,282.
Yeah, so included in the budget we just approved tonight is the purchase of a new fire engine. The current engine's 17 years old, and if it was to remain in service for any prolonged period of time, probably looking at between $80,000 and $100,000 worth of work on it. So Chief Cavanaugh's got the fleet staggered, that engines are replaced every 16 years. So we've got 4 engines, so every 4 years we replace an engine. So this one is actually 1 year late as far as replacement schedule, so we're able to stretch it out a little bit. But went through the HGAC program that we've used in the past as far for a government cooperative, and Fire Service Inc., that's who we've received. All of our ambulances, the ladder truck, et cetera, have come through Fire Service Inc., so been happy with the quality of the equipment that they build and stand behind. So we're recommending to go through that purchasing cooperative and get our order placed for the engine, because these things take a while to build.
Questions?
The old,
Greg?
and
Trustee Garner?
what happens to the old one?
We do with the old one.
The timeline when it's going to be delivered, we get it out for sale. There is no trade-in value offered. The fire service looked at the undercarriage, the extensive corrosion. They were not interested in taking it to their house. We'll still try to sell it through a third party.
I think not too long ago, we sent one in Central America, didn't we?
One of them did, the last one with a lot of body damage, or rust, ended up in Central America. We work with third-party sellers. We work on commission with them, and we try to get them the values so little for what you pay.
Sure.
Imagine delivering that. You know what's really amazing is that we do all of this, these purchases with sales tax.
Yeah.
I make a
Move
motion.
to approve.
All right. All right, motion by trustee Ross, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
6-0.
Do you have a number 11?
Nope.
What's this?
Just information.
All right, it's the end of our regular business. We do have 3 matters to consider in executive session, so before I start that process, I will reopen the floor for public comment. Anybody would like to come address us? All right. Okay. Mr. Winter, please state the reasons why we're going into...
Yes, all the matters to be discussed involve collective negotiation matters, and that's section 2B3, and a roll call vote is in order.
All right, so do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
6-0.
All right. Will we be taking?
We'll be back out, but no action.
We'll be back out, but without any action tonight. But it may be a while, so nobody has to stay.